Can I just do this for now? See if that fixes the problem. All right. Hey, everybody. How's it going? We are extremely frustrated at the moment. Why is that showing up over here and not where I actually want it? Everything computer right now is just pissing me off. It's fun. Okay. Oh, you fucking thing. Would love to know why you're not working. What's up, Crow? How you doing, buddy? Hello, D. Hello, Omega Man. Glad you're all here. Sorry, I am in a foul and getting fouler mood. I know that's a great way to start a show. What's up, Scuba Steve? All right. I know Run's been waiting for me semi-patiently. Let's jump over to him.
To join, there he is. Okay, we're good.
Oh, we are far from good, but we're here. How you doing, buddy?
What's the matter? What happened?
Oh, just all of my audio is being weird.
Uh-oh, what updated?
I don't know. That's the annoying part. But
oh, Will's inside the self-storage. I'm outside the self-storage.
You ever had that problem where like a USB is just constantly turning on and off, like just like boo-doo?
Oh, sounding like somebody entering and exiting the Discord channel when you're trying to watch a movie?
Kind of, but it's not. Obviously, it's not the Discord. It's like a USB is like connecting and disconnecting from my computer, and I cannot find it, and it's driving me fucking insane. Also, I had a game ready, but I don't have it ready enough, so we're gonna have to skip that, unfortunately. But whatever, we can do that next week.
That's okay.
All good.
I plan on us needing to talk about this one a little bit more than most.
Meaning I
don't got much to say, so.
Oh, okay.
Meaning you were planning on this going longer than normal, or
I kind of thought it would. We'd have to like discuss what we actually thought happened.
You actually think stuff happens in this movie?
Oh, lots of stuff happens. Okay. I've done it after watching it with you guys the second half, since I showed up late to my own hosting party. After watching the second half, I rewatched it again. So that was like 3 times in a row in the span of 4 days. And then I went down a rabbit hole of conspiracy theories about the movie and found lots of interesting tidbits, which caused me to rewatch it yet again to look for some of those things for myself.
Interesting. So you've seen it 3 times this week?
4 times 3.5 times in the last week.
Wow. I am knocking on your door if you care.
Oh, thank you.
Come and knock on my door.
If anybody knows, I thought it was my Stream Deck that was the issue. If anybody knows a way to find what it is, I tried looking on YouTube, tried a couple of different programs. I cannot figure out what this is, and it's driving me batty.
And you're hearing it right now,
huh? Every 30 to 40 seconds.
Oh.
So not constant, but constant enough.
Yeah, that's enough. That's brutal.
Do you have your HyperX headphones on Bluetooth, or did you use the dongle to go?
I use the dongle.
Could be that.
But I mean, I mean, it could be like I've got so many USBs. It could be a lot of things.
Oh, sure, yeah.
This was happening a while ago, and it was my external hard drive. So I unplugged that, but I haven't used that in a while, and it kind of went away. But
Good one, Bubba. Good one, Bubba.
Bubby here with the high class jokes. Okay, I'm gonna close that.
Just
now.
entertaining himself. It's fine.
What am I wanting to do? Oh, I need to open up a bunch of stuff. Okay. Sorry, I had everything open and then restarted my computer, hoping that by some miracle that would fix the problem. But
so Will obviously hates the movie, and Dan's in a bad mood because he's got sound effects popping off in his ear. You guys are gonna tank one of my favorite films ever, and I'm gonna cry myself to sleep tonight.
Any night I can make you cry to sleep at night is a pretty good R rating episode for Dan.
Welcome to me last week. That's the way this is going to go.
You don't care about my opinion nearly enough to cry to sleep afterwards. All right. That's okay.
Now
There's
you
a
know how
lot
I
of
felt
things
when
called
you
Primer.
trashed Highlander.
Oh, I see. Here's the thing: is I get to go last, so like you guys I get to rip on you guys, and then you both get to team up on me at the end of the month. So,
I mean, you're used
this
to
will
that.
be the last ever March Movie Madness. We'll just be like, no. It's almost broke the podcast.
Too dangerous. Friendships were lost.
All right. I can't find. I'm just gonna write it out because I can't find like a logo for this movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't have like an official font, does it?
Yeah.
Well, that's just it. And there's so many primers out there that I don't want to like put it on there and be like, "That's a tech company. What are you doing there? Why are you rating a tech company?"
Is there even a title sequence to this movie? I don't think so.
No, there's no title.
There's
sequence
not, but there's like a thing on the box.
That would have cost more money. It wasn't in the budget.
No, exactly.
I would just use the primer written in cables if you can like Photoshop out the ground or something
Crop
like
it.
that. That seems to be the most popular cover.
For here and now, I'm just gonna write it out, and if I can figure out something after the fact, then great.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
That's
you can always go back in time and change that.
Wow.
Sure.
Spoiler alert.
Where should you hold this running? Windows is recently prone to dodgy updates. I assume you tried restarting the computer before you started. I did, Demalion. I did. It did not do what I wanted it to do. All right. So we've got that screen up. We're not doing the game. I've got the list ready to go. I guess I need my actual notes. 1 second. Sorry, guys. I got here like an hour ago trying to be prepared and just.
And now you're just suffering through it.
Sometimes it's like that.
Hey, Dan. I wonder if you could just turn down your system sounds to mute that ding dong effect. Could you just turn off your system sounds and just mute them?
They are off now. We'll see if that does anything.
Without muting me and Will?
Yeah, no. I just
mute me and Will too. That might improve your mood as well. I don't know.
That's true. It's true.
No, you guys are usually a boost somehow.
Oh, that's so cute.
No, it beeps.
Damn.
All right. Okay, I think I've got everything here that I need.
Is that a Deadpool sweatshirt?
It is.
Nice.
Had it for a while. It's in real life, it's a little bit fuzzy. Like you can it's not a high quality sweater, but for some reason it's so freaking comfortable. And it looks pretty decent on stream. So it's like, yeah, okay, I can work with that. I got it forever ago. I got it actually right before oh man, what was his name? What's up? Updog got the exclusive for the Panda Pool. And he saw my sweater. He's like, "Where did you get that? I need that for my costume." I'm like, "I got it from here, but it took like a month and a half, so I don't think you're gonna have it in time." He's like, "Oh, that sucks." And then he wasn't allowed to make that video anyways. So
I got a buddy who's really into Deadpool, a coworker, and he actually has Deadpool's head on a pike in his front yard, which is kind of weird.
Nothing says I love a character like spiking their head on your yard.
He took the mask and he stuffed it and he put it on a pike in the front yard so it looks like Deadpool's head is out there. And of course, if you're a Deadpool fan, you know that isn't necessarily a dead Deadpool. It's just his head's out there.
It's Headpool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got the music. I feel like I'm missing something, and I can't think of what.
Casey,
The
why me?
noise is still
I
going.
assume we have to. Yep.
Yeah, I heard it. Is it Batista and
Cavill.
yeah, Cavill in there? You know what?
I didn't
I'm
know it was
becoming
Batista. I knew it was Cavill.
I'm coming up with I'm becoming a big Batista fan, especially after Knives Out. I was
Yeah.
very impressed by him. He keeps doing better and better and better.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. I've been a fan for a while. Not as a wrestler. I never cared for him as a wrestler. I never really watched
Right.
the era that he was in. But most things I find him in as an actor, I'm like, he's pretty decent.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm as good to go as I think I'm going to be if you guys are ready. I had a note that I wanted to have, but I left it at work because that's the kind of day I'm having.
Yeah, buddy.
So I'm going to try and do this as best I can. Before we get started, because I don't want this to be part of the actual official episode, there was just a couple of things I wanted to go over with, whatever audience members we happen to have around here. One, anybody who's checking out the YouTube will find out that it is no longer Mongoli's movie show. I've been saying for a long time that I want this show to feel like our show, and branding it with Mongoli everywhere just felt inauthentic to that cause. So it is now, the YouTube channel is now our rating movie reviews. So if you are looking us up on YouTube, that is going to be the best way to find it. You can see that the logo in the corner there is now our rating as opposed to being Mongoli's movies. There's still a couple of other branding things that I'm going to have to work on, specifically the opening and end credits, as well as the subscribe on YouTube button. All those still say Mongoli Show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be working towards making those all say our rating at one point so that it is better and more inclusive to the group that we are doing. Also, hopefully easier to find and a little bit more obvious for people who do find us randomly on YouTube what we are. To spiral off of that into the podcasts, exclamation mark podcast, you can find the link to all of the podcasts we're on. We've got over 30 episodes on over a dozen websites at this point. If you want to go check any of those out, hit the follow button, hit a review, that'd be amazing. But now the name is kind of the same across the board, whether you're watching us, other than Twitch is the one thing that we can't really change because I'm not starting a brand new Twitch channel. That seems like kind of shooting myself in the foot. But outside that, YouTube, the podcasts, TikTok, everything that will be our rating movie reviews going forward. So you can check all those things out. I'm still working on branding a couple of the things, but for the most part, they're good. So if you want to see any of those, that'd be awesome. And one thing that I was talking with a friend about is the Patreon, specifically trying to find a way to give a bit more value to you guys. We've got four technically different levels of the Patreon. The $1 level is literally just you're happy to be there. The producer level I'm quite happy with, and the writer level I'm quite happy with. The executive producer level, I don't feel like we are giving people their value for that. If anybody has any ideas on something that we could add to that tier, I would love to hear it. Basically, at this point, all we're really doing is saying your name out loud every episode. We talked about doing a game night, but so far that has not happened a single time. So that's unfortunate. Also, a good friend of mine who I was talking to was surprised to find out that we'd lowered the price of the writers, despite the fact that we did that months ago. So just for the record, it came out originally at being like $50, and we're like, that's way too high. That's insane. We've lowered it to $15. Again, that might be too high for a lot of people, and that's totally fine. Just you being here is good enough. We don't expect anything from you guys. But for the sake of, apparently I didn't announce that when we did it, it is $5, $10, or $15, depending on what level you want to join at, or $1, or honestly free, and just come join us in the Discord over there. Just hang out with us. We're just happy you're all here.
Yeah, just chat movies.
Think that was everything that I had on my list of stuff I wanted to just address before we got into this. You guys have anything before we get started?
We're kind of a big deal, chat, these days. Yeah,
I'm
kind of a big deal.
All right. Let's open the curtain. Of course. Why does it do that every time? And
Bleep, bloop.
go to Will.
All right, we're going to Will. Let's do this thing. Primer 2004. A couple of engineering bros trying to make some extra buckage from side inventions in their garage stumble on something much more financially promising, as long as they're willing to take the time to risk it all. I don't know.
Hello, Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Our Rating, the show where I get together with two of my friends. We take a movie franchise, break it down by movie, give it an overall score, and throw it back up on the board to see how it rates compared to other movie franchises. Now, this month, we're doing our March Movie Madness, where every week this month, we're going to get to choose a different movie. Will's going to choose one, Brian's going to choose one, and I'm going to choose one, and we're going to rate that. That way, we don't have to choose one that's part of a franchise. We can just bring something that we love to the podcast, make the other guys watch it, and discuss it. This week, we're talking about Brian's pick, Primer. Obviously being Brian pick, I'm going to start with Will. Will, was this the first time you'd ever seen or heard of Primer?
This is the first time I had seen or heard of Primer.
Excellent. Glad I went to the big screen for that. Yeah, myself as well. I've talked to Brian and he's brought this one up a couple of times, but this is not one that I'd ever really seen or heard. The poster's vaguely familiar, but not like something that was in my local video store back in the day. I unfortunately joined the watch party a little bit late, so I missed the first 20 minutes of this. So I went back and rewatched it. So I've seen it now, like, I guess 1.75 times. Nice. It's a pretty short movie. It's only coming in at an hour and 17 minutes. But Brian, I'd love to hear your quick take on this. Why did you choose this movie?
I'm a huge fan of time travel, but most time travel movies have huge plot holes because time travel is something really challenging to make sense of, to make coherent, to make function and work the way it should. This movie just says, you know what? We're going to confuse you. We're just going to go ahead and confuse you and make this challenging. But in so doing, they enable all of this time travel to really work, at least theoretically, right? And so that's why I like it, because I watch it and I'm like, wow, if that machine really works, then this really could be a thing. And so the poster is what happens if it actually works. And so it's a very exciting movie for me, not to mention $7,000 budget. I love indie films that can take a small budget and entertain you as well as this does.
Very nice. Yeah, I'm also a big fan of indie films, and I feel like I mentioned to you during the watch party, maybe just after, if I had discovered this maybe in my early 20s, like this came out in 2004, I would have been 22-ish, somewhere in that range. If I discovered it kind of in that era, I might have had a deep, deep love for this movie. It ticks all the right boxes for me at a different time in my life. And I'm not ragging on it. I'm just saying, like, I'm just being honest. I don't know how I don't revisit movies as often now in my 40s as I did in my 20s, right? Like, if this had been something I had in DVD back then, I probably would have watched it a bunch. But with YouTube, Netflix, access to so much content, I just don't feel the same need to go back over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. So my big question for you guys, after having seen it, Dan, you said you rewatched it. Will, did you rewatch it, or was once enough for you?
I mean, once was enough for me, but I did rewatch it in the watch party. I was doing some work and just kind of watching it on the side with the watch party, just because I figured I might as well tune in and be there for that. So I did watch it twice.
Okay. Actually, I want to review a question you said last week, Brian, before we get too far into this.
Sure.
Knowing what you know of us, where do you think we're going to rate this movie, having had very little discussion about it up until now?
Okay, well, without reading the room today, I would say that Will would score this one rather high. After reading the room, I haven't enjoyed this at all. So I don't know. Dan, I think that I thought this would be a movie you would really enjoy as long as you understood it. And if you did get an inkling for it, you might rewatch it for all the value there is to, because you rewatch a lot of stuff. If it's interesting, you'll turn around and rewatch it again. I thought this would be one of those that you would rewatch so you could thoroughly understand it and kind of grasp some of the deeper plot lines that are going on that most people don't get on their first run through.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. We'll decide at the end of the movie or the episode how well that actually plays.
That's right,
out,
because at the end of this episode, Dan brings up a billboard of numbers for us to go over, and we give our rating on get it? We give our rating on these movies, and you could see where they land as we average out our scores. We have Dan, Brian, and Will's high, low, and mid numbers. Those average out, and that gives us a score. And of course, we do this for our franchises as well. But in March Madness, it's just going to be the Patreon picks and the individual films that are not franchises.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Appreciate the additional plug. All right, I have like this is going to be a hard one to review because I feel like I'm going to spend the entire episode just asking you questions about this movie that you've seen so many more times than I have. I was hoping to check out like a YouTube breakdown of this because there is a lot going on.
Well, if you'd like, I can give you a quick rundown of what actually happened in the film, what the director, Shane Carruth, who plays Aaron, who writes, directs, produces, paid for, did everything in this film.
Edits, does the sound.
Yeah.
Yes, everything. I can give you a quick breakdown of what he somewhat intended for this movie to be. He specifically left out important sequences so that the viewer would be confused and not quite understand what's happening. A lot of people complain. They're like, hey, suddenly there's a guy waving a shotgun around at a party and we hadn't heard anything about this. That's part of it, right? So the cliff notes of this is that the guys accidentally stumble upon a time machine, and Abe creates the time machine, tests it out, realizes it works. But before he tests it out, he makes a fail-safe machine, and we don't learn about that till halfway through the film. And then he tests it out, and he goes and he shows Aaron. Aaron learns about the fail-safe machine that Abe didn't tell him about, and uses that fail-safe machine to bring back his own time machine so that both of them have a time machine starting at the very, very beginning of all the shenanigans. So at any point in time, they can loop all the way back and start over again if they want, but neither of them know that they're doing this. So then as Abe moves through, he starts to realize that Aaron has been looping back and doing stuff over and over and tinkering with things. So Abe goes all the way back to the beginning, only to find out that Aaron had all gone all the way back to the beginning as well. And by the end of the film, you have two competing timelines. Aaron, who wants to mass produce this time machine and make a bigger box and do lots of time travel stuff, and Abe, who wants to truncate this, stop it from ever happening, and be the only surviving person with the knowledge of this time machine and let it die with him so that the original Abe and Aaron never create the machine in the first place. And what some people don't understand is that when they go back in time, they are actually duplicating themselves. And as long as they don't interact with themselves, then they will end up getting back in the time machine and going back, and then there will be one of them. However, they do start to interact with themselves, and they keep themselves from getting back in the time machine. So now there's multiple versions of them. And some theorize there could be as many as 13 Aarons and 6 Abes running around in this movie, depending on which kind of theory you go by. But they keep looping back and screwing with time and causing problems more and more and more. And that's kind of the ugly gist of the film.
I love that you think that cleared it up.
Sounded pretty straightforward to me.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a tough one.
Forward and back.
Yeah.
Forward and back. Yep.
Do you think taking a concept that's already heady and then overcomplicating it and confusing it is a good filmmaking decision?
I think it's a dangerous filmmaking decision, but in this instance, it works pretty well. I think that Carruth maybe chopped out a little too many pieces. And apparently there is a director's cut around there where they go to the hospital and they see, I believe it's Granger. They see Granger in the hospital, and there's some information about him basically suffering from time travel sickness.
Remind me which one Granger is?
The one that uses the time machine. And
Yeah,
it's
remember they're like,
following
hey,
them.
I saw him.
Rachel's
but,
dad.
okay.
Rachel's
I
dad.
saw him
Rachel's dad.
morning, but he was clean shaven, and now he's got 5 days growth beard. That's Rachel's dad, Mr. Granger. And so from that take in the cut that we saw, we know that somebody else is messing with time as well, but we have no idea. That's never gotten into. We just know that time travel got sloppy and something's happening in a different loop that we're not part of. And in the director's cut, apparently they go to a hospital and there's a sequence where they see Mr. Granger and he's suffering from time travel sickness. And there's a little bit more information there to clear that up. And there's also some more information about the party scene with the guy waving the shotgun around. I kind of wish they would have left that in, but it also kind of pigeonholes the movie so that the fan theories aren't as proliferant.
Yeah, I don't know if that is necessary in either case. Just because, one, you don't gain that much more information from a scene or two as to like how Granger got there or what is happening to him post time travel, why he's in this coma. That doesn't really matter to what the story is about in my eyes. Like, this is a cautionary tale of like, if you have access to time travel, there's no way you can know how it's going to affect everything once it's out there. And so that's kind of the beauty of not knowing why some of these things are happening or the outcomes of them. You know, that's kind of part and parcel to why this story works as well as it does as a cautionary tale. And so I don't think adding to that matters all that much in the end of this movie specifically.
Fair enough.
I just felt like the Granger bit where they chase him down in the alleyway and the guy's laying on the ground. Like, I wanted more. I wanted to know more about that tale because all that served was to showcase that things are getting sloppy. That's really all it showcased.
Yeah, no, I think it's the turning point of we are fully unraveled and we are in over our heads.
Yeah,
although they already were.
Yes.
Abe
just didn't know it.
That's when Abe knows, okay, this has gone too far and I have to try to fix things.
And so he goes all the
little
way.
Do we know that it's too late. He can't fix anything because Aaron's already gone on his dark tirade and he's in his own selfish world, right?
Did you guys notice that right from the jump, when we start watching, Aaron's already a couple loops in when we, the viewers, start the movie because he already has his earpiece in.
Yeah, when Abe comes to tell him, he's already in the loops. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I noticed that obviously the second time. The first time I missed the first little bit of the movie and I wouldn't have known what the earpiece was to start off anyways. So
yes.
It didn't really register anything. This is a really tough movie to get into. Not only because obviously very low budget and very first time actors, but also the way the script. Wait till the end of my review for this one because it's not. This movie is not the sum of its parts. The way I'm gonna have a hard time getting through some of this. The way that Aaron Sorkin writes certain things is he always makes sure that you have a character who doesn't know what's going on to be the audience, so that we can always be talking to that character, so that you go, "Oh, that's what's happening," and then you end up watching a movie about politics or the law or whatever it is. And you feel smarter as you're doing it because you're like, oh, I get what's going on now. Because both of the people in this movie are engineers, even if he asks a question, like the timer, he's like, why is there a timer in there? He's like, oh, I got it. Yeah. And it's like, no, tell me why the fucking timer's there. Like, he stops him. He's like, oh, I understand. I'm smart enough. And it's like, I get that in that situation, both of them are engineers and both of them are incredibly smart. But for the audience sake, you kind of need one of them to be a little bit further behind. Like, you've got four people at the very beginning, and you almost want to keep the other two in the movie because otherwise, why are they there? So that they can be the ones who are like, why is this happening, and have it explained a little bit more to you.
A lot of this, so they actually do explain why the timer's there, but it's hard to hear because, and I think this is a director's choice, and I'm not sure if I love it or hate it, but the characters talk over each other a lot in this film.
Yes.
Sometimes it feels like these two are just longtime friends and this is how they communicate. Other times it feels like they're both telling their lines at the same time and it's just jarbled. And I never really know. I thought it was a choice that they meant for it to be kind of confusing and have people like one guy is not listening to his friend as his friend is explaining it. And he's trying to talk or complain while his friend is explaining it. And you're hearing both things happen at the same time and you miss it. Like the timer thing. The timer is there so that the box doesn't start up and they are not in the room when their future selves come back through it. So they can get out of the room, then the machine starts up, and then they pop out of it from the future.
Yeah, it's a safety net.
Yeah, they say that, but it's hard to hear because of the way the dialogue works in this film. Did you guys like the dialogue, or did you hate it? That jarbled way?
I have a really quick question for you beforehand. Do you know the two main actors, Abe and Aaron, Sharon Kurth and David Sullivan, are they friends in real life? Like, are they like, do they know each other and be like, we should make this movie? Or is David Sullivan like a hired hand?
Yeah, I believe the guy who played Abe, David Sullivan, was hired. They auditioned. Okay. Shane Kurth auditioned for both roles, but couldn't find somebody to play Aaron, so he played it himself. Not that they couldn't find people, but he couldn't find people he liked for the part, like to do the dialogue in the way he wanted it to be done.
Sure. I will give them major props for that because they had an ease to them that made me think that they actually were really good friends.
I would have guessed, yeah. I would have guessed they were really good friends. And that's why sometimes the dialogue felt like they were really good friends talking over each other.
Yeah.
And that's just how they do. But every once in a while I was like, I'm pretty sure they're both just kind of saying their lines at the same time and it's coming out a little jarbled. But I don't know.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm fairly confident I read that because they're recording this in the way they are, like the $7,000 budget is literally nothing, even in 2004. So they didn't really have good sound recording equipment. So they're actually dubbing everything they're doing. So this might have been kind of a nightmare in the sound editing bay. And I will give them props for that. The dubbing on this is way more convincing than other movies we've seen from higher level production things. I'm going to go back to Rumble in the Bronx last week or the Dollars trilogy from before.
Just stop.
But like seriously, for the budget these guys have, for the level of skill these guys have, the editing of the sound was actually pretty decent in the sense that like most of the time when their lips were moving, that was the sound you heard coming out.
Except for the waterfall scene.
Yeah, my issue is with this movie is the sound mixing is bad. So I love like the ambient sound design in this movie and the background noise of like the machine humming and things like that. I really like all those noises and the sound choices, but the mixing of levels is atrocious, and that's what took me out of being like, I can't hear what they're saying, not because they're talking over each other, but because the sound in the background is louder than them. And the mix is just showing the amateur nature of the filming. So that's what stood out to me, not as much as I didn't mind them talking over each other, that naturalistic kind of like everyday conversations. I didn't mind that at all. And a lot of times if you miss things like the technical mumbo jumbo, they don't pull punches in this. They are talking all kinds of tech stuff all the time. And I don't think that matters that much because you see what is happening in the movie enough to get what, like their technical terms don't matter as long as you get to see what's happening, and they do a good show of showing and telling.
And that walkthrough with Abe in the beginning as he's walking Aaron through it, he's doing that for us, right? Which is
and then they loop back and show it again,
but
showing that Aaron already knew everything because he has already been through it. So they like show you multiple times so you can pick it up along the way, and that's kind of the beauty of the writing in this. And I actually prefer this writing and way of telling us about time travel compared to one of the bigger time travel movies of recently, Interstellar. I felt that one, the writing told the audience like again and again, like over the top of like, okay, everybody, we're going to walk you through this again.
And now we're going to show you on the dry erase board.
Exactly. And so I was like, this one treats the audience as just people experiencing it and letting you find out along the way, which I prefer to the hand holding of Interstellar, which is like a huge, obviously difference in movies, directors, budgets, everything. But this I prefer. I just hated the sound mix.
Yeah, the sequence when they're looking for the dog and they're out in the waterfall, they're in the center of a water fountain thing. Right. And it was so hard to hear anything. And I was like, why would you record this scene here? Why would you do this? Like it doesn't
and
even
if you're-
look that good.
And if you're
Like,
dubbing it, lower the sound of that and
Yeah.
let us hear the conversation a little bit. It's just crazy
Yeah.
to me. But again, it just shows the lack of experience in the filmmaking itself, which is, you know, whatever. This is obviously a huge passion project, which I respect in a lot of cases as well. So I can only ding it so much.
I didn't necessarily have a problem with them talking over each other in certain scenes so much as like there were times where it made it hard to tell when you were supposed to be paying attention versus when what was being said was kind of background fluff.
Aren't you always supposed to be paying attention?
you kind of need to be paying attention the whole time on this one.
Well, on this one, sure, but there's a lot of times in movies where there is stuff that is happening that isn't necessarily progressing the plot versus the stuff that's happening that is absolutely essential to the plot. And this movie kind of treats both of those as the same thing. Like the first little bit of this movie, especially on, like if you're walking into this blind, you don't have a Brian telling you what's going on. You're just like, Primer, I wonder what this is, and you turn it on. It is a while before they give you any clue as to what is going on in this movie. Like it is just four guys rambling on about tech jargon in their office. At no point do they, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think at any point in the movie they talk about actual time travel. You can figure out what's going on, obviously, because of what they're talking about.
You don't,
but at
you
no
don't
point
figure
they're
out
like, we
time
created
travel
a time machine? Bum, bum, bum. Like it's
until he says this mold would take 5 years to grow, but I was doing it every 5 days. That's the first time the viewers go, oh, this is about time travel. And that's a good 20 minutes into the film.
And the movie's only an hour and 15 minutes or something. That's a quarter of the movie where you're just like, what is this about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there are some subtleties in that first quarter where they're showing aspects of these characters and their personalities that will develop and grow over time. Aaron especially, as he's kind of, they're having that round table at the kitchen table as they're putting stickers on envelopes. And they're talking about what their next project is. Aaron obviously wants to make some money. He doesn't want to be dicking around with the other guys. The other guys are like, that's not really fair. We did your thing. Now it's our turn. And you kind of see, and then later, you know, he wants to cut him out of the project altogether. And then it goes on and on and on, how he's ready to just stab anybody in the back. So a lot of that up front is the storytelling of these characters' personalities, how Abe is very inquisitive and thinking things through and trying to be very safe. Hey, wait, don't start this. Let me go over the checklist first. Those sorts of things where Aaron is the one who's like, let's go, let's do this. I don't care. Let's blow it all up. And
yes and no, though. I kind of found their characters kind of swap throughout the movie because Abe is the one who just goes for it, jumps in the time machine
without telling Aaron,
without telling anybody, and just is like dives in. So he feels more like the reckless character, but kind of midpoint, you see that switch and being like, oh no, Aaron is the reckless one. Abe has actually set up the fail safe. He's actually thought it through. He's actually comes across as more reckless, but is the more thoughtful one.
Do you think that's intentional misdirection?
I don't know if it's a misdirection. I think it's just like showing, you know, not everything is what it seems in this movie, right? And I think that plays out well in the writing. The only issue I had with the characters in this movie is the emotional attachment to the characters. And this movie, I think, decidedly chose to do that on purpose. Like, you don't get really emotionally invested to either one of these guys.
No.
Whereas in a lot of movies, you want that emotional investment because you can relate to them or, you know, root for them or whatever. And this one, you don't really get that. And I feel like that's one of the bigger things missing in this movie. And I don't know if that was like a writing choice or a lack of experience in writing, because one, obviously the time travel is the forefront of this movie, and that's what comes across. So mission accomplished, I think. I just don't know if it was a conscious choice to take away that emotional core.
Yeah, I would agree with that entirely. I feel like by the end of this movie, I don't really have a great sense of who these characters are, what their motivations are. The tagline on the poster, there's two. The one you read, I like quite a bit more, the what happens if it works. But the other one is, if you always want what you can't have, what happens when you have everything? And I'm like, what does that have to do with the movie that I just watched? Like, I don't feel like that has anything to do with this. That feels like a much big grander scope
in the movie. and they don't really go anywhere with it.
No.
There are a couple of times
Well-
when they do bring in the wives or girlfriends. I'm not really even sure because they don't elaborate on the relationships. At the very end, Abe wants to stay, and Aaron claims it's because, oh, you should just take your girlfriend in the time machine, and then you'll have duplicates of her, and you can go live in opposite hemispheres. They never develop their relationships with their family. They never have a reason to really care about the rest of the world. And I think that's to its detriment. I wish they would have spent a little bit more time building an emotional relationship, the characters with their surrounding fellows, their family, their friends, and then the audience gets a bit of a chance to see who they are on an emotional level.
Yeah, because I thought at the end when they're at the airport, Aaron is telling Abe, why don't you just take my wife and kid and make duplicates of them if that's what you want so badly? Like he's almost accusing him of wanting to steal his life, or maybe I'm wrong on that, but
he does mention a couple of times in the film that he's jealous of his family.
Yeah. Which is weird because Aaron doesn't seem to give a crap about his family this entire movie.
Yeah.
Like
Aaron,
you don't really, other than like one line is like, oh, I have to drop my kid off and then I'll be there right afterwards. And the one scene where they're talking with his wife and she does not want to play the game that they're talking about, where they're like, what would you do if you could do this? And he's like, I'd go punch my boss. And she's like, oh, I'm proud of you, honey. You're a hero. And I'm like, the fuck?
Yeah. And also kind of weird that she calls him a hero. And then he becomes the hero at the party by stopping the guy with the shotgun, which there was actually no danger in it because he knew the future.
Not only that, there was no danger in it anyways.
Yeah.
In the scene where he wasn't there, the guy shows up, doesn't shoot her, and leaves. In the scene where he is there, the guy shows up, doesn't shoot her, and leaves. Why was this a plot point for 20 minutes of this movie?
Because
who cares? We don't like Rachel. She's not in danger. What are we doing?
Aaron wanted to be a hero. And I wonder if, as a writer, he was trying to plant that seed in the character's mind by that sequence where she says, oh, my hero, kind of in a patronizing way almost. And so then he wants to actually be a hero. So he orchestrates this whole thing. And then and the narrator, which is also Aaron, by the way, one of the looped Aarons, we don't even know which one, but it's already in the process, says, now that it's been spoken aloud, it can't be undone. The seed has been planted.
That's about punching the boss in the face, though, right?
I think it's about being a hero. I think it's about being a hero. And so,
correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay,
Let me jump on you here.
Killing the boss, or not killing the boss,
punching the boss. They did, yes. Correct me if I'm wrong. In the end, whatever reality at the end of the day, isn't it Abe who saves the day to look better for Rachel? I thought Aaron went through it all and then gave that information to Abe at the end, so that
because Aaron's married to whatever his wife's name is.
What do you mean? I'm confused.
Aaron's already married.
Yeah, Aaron went through all the loops to learn everybody's conversation, know what to say, know what to do, knows when the guy comes, knows they can go and get the bullets out of his gun. He goes through, he becomes the hero, but they do all of that so that Abe can then do it and become the hero because it's Abe's girlfriend. And my thought was Aaron wanted to do that for Abe, one, for the girl, but more importantly for Granger, or whatever his name is, the potential investor who they've always wanted to be, Granger, to be an investor for them so that they would look better for him to.
If Abe rescued Granger's daughter, they'd get funding. Okay, this makes sense. See, the more you get into this movie, the more things you find about it, right? That's why I like this movie, because there's just so many things that are going on. I don't even want to call it layers, because there aren't layers to this. It's such a complicated movie with loops and stuff.
It's a ball of yarn.
So, yeah, it's a ball of yarn.
A tangled ball of yarn.
Yes. I do like that there are basically two competing timelines at the end. There's Aaron's, who's going big with time travel, and there's Abe's, he's shut down any ability for people to travel through time from his perspective. Now, they still exist in the same world, and the prime Aaron, if it's even the actual prime Aaron, we don't know, can be messing with time, but hopefully he will take Abe's advice and stay away from him so the time won't really be affected too much from Abe's perspective. But he'll never know because he shut down time travel in his area. It's kind of complicated.
But it looks like Aaron goes to France and makes a bigger one.
And but isn't, in the end, isn't there 3 Aarons?
At least.
At least
least.
3, right? So we know
At
one
least 3
goes
errands.
off to build his own time machine.
Yes.
One, in theory, lives his normal life unknowing about time
Right.
travel.
There's
And then
another one, the hooded
third-
one. The
Yeah,
hooded one who was like,
We don't know what he's up to, right?
yes. Yep.
Whereas
And
there's only 2 Abes that we know of, one going through his normal life and one trying to protect ever time travel from happening.
yes.
Which
Yes.
he can't because
And
it's already a screwed loop
it's-
from Aaron.
It's really interesting. In the beginning, they start the time machine with its timer, and then they go stay in a hotel room for the entire day being bored. And then at the end of the day, they go back into the time machine after they've already collected their data on what stocks to trade. And they go back into the time machine, and then they live their normal day knowing that they're sitting in a hotel room. I personally would have done it the other way around. I would have lived my normal day, then gone back in time and sat in the hotel room and made trades, is what I would have done. But they do it the other way. And then they start to get where, from Abe's perspective, they start to tinker with stuff and do things outside of the hotel room. It all starts with Aaron. He answers the phone on accident and nothing bad happens, right?
That
they know of. And they're like, are you okay? Yeah, I feel fine. And they can still remember everything as well. So they start to go, oh, okay, it doesn't rewrite us once we've gone back.
Question about that though. Because I believe in one of the scenes, he answers the phone, talks to his wife. She's talking about dinner plans, but then he gets in the box, goes back in time. His clone wakes up, goes through his normal day, does not receive that phone call, and then doesn't know about the dinner plans.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So the
And-
wife is just getting more and more pissed off with this guy who's flaking constantly.
Probably another showcase of Aaron being the true villain.
Rightly so.
Also, there's one part in this movie where Aaron drops the 3-letter F word, and I thought that was a weird choice. Maybe at the
so
time,
casual.
maybe at the time it was not such a harsh word to be throwing out there, but to hear it today, I was like, wow, that really shows what a douchebag this guy is to be using kind of terminology like that. So I don't know, that might just be me and my perspective, but it was a weird word because I don't hear that word dropped like that in cinema very often anymore.
There's a lot of things from, this is 2004, but like from the 90s that look bad in 2026, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not excusing it. I'm not at all.
I'm just wondering if it was a directorial choice as a hint that this is a bad guy who does bad things.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know the context of
version
the
of him
movie.
is bad, right? This version of him is bad.
Sure.
I don't know if all of him are bad.
Yeah, you don't know. I mean, the original version that doesn't ever discover time travel from Abe's perspective might turn out to be a great friend and a good guy because he just never gets his hand on the golden goose, right? But because he then has everything, he becomes a bad person. So maybe that other line on the title is actually valid because Aaron does discover how to have everything, his cake, and eat it too, 3 or 4 times if he wants. But he becomes a pretty bad person, screwing over anybody and everybody.
He's not really the one getting everything though, right? Like to some extent they're giving what they have to the other person. Unless
Well,
I'm really missing something.
But Abe doesn't want to go back and be that hero for Rachel or Mr. Granger or any of that. Abe doesn't want that. So maybe it was good intention, but by the end of it, Aaron's like, we're going to build this big box. We're going to do this. That's obviously greed because he's screwed things up and he knows it, but he's still going to keep playing with time.
Okay. I have a question for you.
Okay. Another question.
The way that Abe describes it to Aaron, and I have to draw this out, so I'll try and do it without drawing it. Is you get in at A, go to B, and then you can go back to A, but he makes it like a loop. Like you are constantly kind of bouncing off 2 walls, and you can kind of get in or out at one of the walls.
Right.
With the machine that is going, because like they time it like, oh, this is going to be an 8-hour thing. We're going to turn it on now so it's ready for this time. But then with the machine, the fail-safe machine that is just on and running for days at a time, so they can go back.
I think
to
it's
the
about
beginning.
4 days.
how can they get in it at any time that they want and end up back at A?
They don't really explain that one other than to say it's not a one-time use like they thought it was. You can, as long as the machines are running, you can do some math and you can get in or out whenever you want. And
so you just time, like do you have to be in there for the amount of time that you're going back? So if you're
I
going back
think
4 days, you have to be in there for 4 days?
I think so. I think either the loop is bigger and you're going to be asleep. They gas themselves because they fill the machine with argon, and so they have to have gas to breathe. That's why they need so many tanks. They need a ton of gas to just knock themselves out and be asleep for this really long travel all the way back 4 days. So I don't know if the loop is bigger or if they're looping more times. I'm not really sure. I think the loop is bigger, and so it takes a lot longer to go from B back to A is what it is.
But my point is, at any time you get in, is it just B whenever you get in? Like, I thought you had to kind of get in at a certain time and get out at a certain time. And then with the big machine, it's almost like you can get in whenever you want and get out at the beginning.
I think that from the time the machine starts till you get in, this becomes B, and this is always going to be A, the starting point. So, so you can always
go back to when it was started, because that's when it started. You can't go past that, obviously. But it's running the whole time, so you can jump in any time to go back to that point.
And I think the loop just gets bigger, so you have to be asleep in the machine longer, and that's why he needs so many tanks of gas to breathe and get through.
And when Abe goes back, because it's been so long, that's why he's so dehydrated. He's a mess. He faints when he actually goes to talk again to Aaron for the first time, finding out that it's not Aaron the first time. Right. And so he's like
that makes sense.
Discombobulated mess because it took him 4 days in the machine. So he's just dead. Right.
When I first watched this, I thought that they were killing themselves and taking over themselves. I didn't know that they were just knocking themselves unconscious and hiding them in the closet or the rats in the attic. Yeah. And so that's why I thought Abe collapsed, because he was so disheartened that he had just murdered himself. But really, he was just knocking himself out with that gas of xenon gas or whatever they used to knock him out.
Yeah, I thought it was a prestige thing. Whereas, like, well, only one of us needs to survive. And, you know, as long as one of us survives, then that's who we are and we can live our best life kind of a thing.
Yeah. But they were also experiencing more time because they'd lived through the same period twice, but also they were in the box, which, like, Abe was in the box for 4 days. So not only was he awake for 4 days, and then he went back in time to do those 4 days again, but the time it took him to go back was like 4 days in the box. So that's like 3 times as much time as he should have experienced. If that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, I think so.
You have the 4 days that he did twice, plus the time travel itself took 4 days. Because he had to go backwards. And that's why when they had the little nugget thing that they put in there at the beginning, it was growing mold on it. That wasn't smart enough to get out when it was supposed to. It just ran through all the cycles until the machine ran down and popped out at the end. And that was like 5 years, which was actually 5 minutes or whatever it was, right? It's so just in there experiencing time travel, but not really popping out anywhere.
Yeah, so if they don't get out, they just start going back to B again.
Yes, they just keep looping from A to B to A to B. And it was like something like 13,000 times, and then it pops out for some reason. They don't really explain it. And it didn't really matter. They ended up moving on from that because then they learned how to get out after they go from A to B or B to A.
Yeah, B to A. B to A.
In fairness, it feels like there were a lot of plot points in this that didn't really matter. They kind of just moved on from after a certain point. Like, they just kind of like introduce something, talk about it for a few minutes, and then be like, and we're moving on. Like, and if that's the direction they wanted to go to cause the confusion, so be it. But there was a lot of times where I'm like, I don't really get what I'm looking at, but now it doesn't matter because we moved on to the next thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to follow. It's just really hard to follow. That was supposed to be intentional. It certainly is confusing. But because this is a movie that interests me, I was willing to put in the work to rewatch it and understand it. And once you understand it, then you just start seeing things that you didn't even notice. Times when there's 2 sets of car keys there to showcase, hey, there are 2 copies of these people in the real world at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was kind of interesting. And I liked how they didn't do, like, they showcased paradoxes, but they didn't showcase stupid paradoxes like Time Cop. Like, oh, if I touch myself in a past, I'll explode the universe or something stupid, right? Like, they literally fight each other. They're themselves, you know? So I like that they kept it really simple. And the paradoxes that did exist were basically like, if I go back and do something different, I still remember what happened to me, but there's a new version of me that isn't going to remember that because the phone didn't ring for him and it did for me. But yeah.
Well, yeah. And I mean, there's multiple theories about time travel, right? This is kind of more of the closed loop theory that they've
it's the same universe
decided upon, instead of the multiple universes. Anytime you travel in time, you branch off into a new timeline, and then there's multiple timelines throughout, which they didn't. They just nixed that idea, right, and went with this singular time loop, and which is a good thing to do, because that lets them, in theory, keep this loop closed, keep only one of each of them going until things get out of hand, and then you can see how fast and how quickly it can unravel, and how many unknowns there still are, and how they try to handle it is interesting to see. But
I really liked how the kid goes down the street setting off the car alarms and wakes Abe up, and he's pissed he missed all this sleep, and he's like, hey, why don't we just go in the box, we'll just stand in the street, scare the kids away, then our real selves won't be having this conversation. We won't have to go back in time. That we'll get in the box like we're supposed to and pop out when we're supposed to. Like, it all made sense to him, but he was like directly influencing time and rewriting his own timeline so casually. It was crazy. And then of course they try to do that, and then they start seeing other things, and Abe's like, oh crap, we shouldn't be tampering. It's
already ruined. We've already tampered too much.
Yeah.
Was the only, I'm just potentially forgetting a part of the movie, was the only reason they did that, because they talked about it being like an experiment, but was the only part of that so that basically their doubles could get a good night's sleep?
No. So Abe woke up from the children, got the idea of like, hey, there's a way with these children that you can go and punch that guy in the face that you wanted to, live that experience, have it, and then we go back and reset, make sure we scare off the kids so that I never wake up and have this idea for us to do this. So you still get to experience it, and then we make sure it never happens.
Yeah.
So it's their idea of...
But that never happens because the guy's waiting in the car for them.
Exactly. It never happens because they've already screwed the whole thing up without knowing it, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's why he says, are you doing this to get a good night's sleep, or are you doing this for me? And he's like, a little bit of both. Because he wants Aaron to go ahead and have that experience, but he wants to get a good night's sleep. So, which is crazy. Like, let's wreck the timeline to get a good night's sleep and put your boss in the face.
Potentially, right?
That's some merit too.
That just like goes to show, again, it's like the elevation of like, as you do this more and get more comfortable with it, you get more loose with maybe what you should and shouldn't be doing.
The rules,
testing things and doing things you shouldn't do.
At first, they talk about trading market cap stocks because the volume is so huge, they can't really influence it. Later, they're just like, hey, let's pick anything that's got big movement. Exactly. I love that it was kind of out of character, but I loved that Aaron was like, well, what does this company do? And Abe's like, what does it matter? It goes up. That's all we needed to do. And Aaron's like, no, but I really want to know. I think it should have been, they should have reversed that.
The other way around.
And Aaron should have been the one who didn't care what they did. And Abe, being the inquisitive one, wanting to know everything, he should have been the one who was like, what do they do? But they got those backwards in that, and so it was weird. But I did like that they were wondering, one of them was wondering.
I'm still on the other side of the fence on that, being like, you get to see the switching characters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, because like at that point of the movie, you are thinking Abe is the reckless one for just making a time machine and jumping into it. That does make
sense, yeah.
Right? And it's not till later you realize like, oh, Aaron's the one that's been messing with this since the very beginning.
Also in that scene, Aaron says, oh, it's my first day, so I'm not really sure. And going back, it's not his first day. He's already been doing this time travel thing. And I think they do a couple of kind of jabs at that, which are kind of pretty fun throughout the movie, giving you those hints of, oh, Aaron's been here before, so he's
Mm-hmm.
kind of being cheeky here in some of his dialogue, which is fun.
Yeah.
I also saw a theory online, which I thought was kind of interesting, that explained the inability to write anymore that Abe and Aaron both were suffering from after time traveling. And it's not that the time traveling itself that they were doing was causing that, but in the beginning of the movie, when they first kind of get this machine running, they both put their hand in the machine and pull it out because they feel whatever is happening to them. And people online are saying that their theory is their hand is desynced with the rest of time. So when they're trying to think of the letters, their hand can't keep up with what they're writing.
Oh,
so I
that's
thought that was a
cool.
really cool kind of theory because they both stick their hand in the machine in the early and
I
just
see.
pull it out at a random time, right? So it desyncs their hand a little bit. That's kind of a cool thought.
Yeah. So maybe their hand experienced more or less time, and so they no longer
Exactly.
react.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just like a brief moment, but it was enough to like throw off their writing because their motor skills are screwed because of it, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, what do you guys think of this film as a $7,000 film? Do you think this was a success? I mean, $800,000 national tickets sales. That's something like made 78 times or something. I don't know. But it made money.
Yeah, $545,000 off of a $7,000 budget. Not bad at all. I think, despite what we have to say about this movie, there's no way of looking at this where this is not a success. From a passion project, he got to make it, got to put it out. The world at large accepts it as being better than being pretty good. Not like amazing, but being pretty good. From a financial perspective, he made, way more than 8,000 times money. Now, he doesn't get to keep all that money. I'm sure it goes to different places and whatnot, but still, to go from $7,000 to $545,000 is pretty incredible. From an awards perspective, this has won a couple of awards for him. So, like, it kind of hit the critics mark, the audience mark, the financial mark. Like, there's not really a good way of saying that this isn't a great investment. And if none of that happened, he still is making his passion project come to life for less than the price of a car. Probably could pay this off pretty easily. Worst case scenario. I think that portion of this is absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, for a guy who literally couldn't take a second take because they didn't have the film to do it, the movie went a long way for sure. Yeah. Right. I think they had like 80 minutes of footage. The movie ended up 78 minutes. Like it's like
it's barely anything left on the floor.
So yeah, I think there was probably a lot he learned and a lot he had to learn. I think it took like 3 years for him to write the script or something. It took him a long time to actually get this thing going. But when he's doing everything, it makes a lot of sense as to why. And without spending all that money. It's kind of funny because it feels like he's the character in the movie, right? Like he doesn't have a lot of money. They're just in the garage tinkering with their own ideas and like talking about, oh, I can maybe get the money from here, or maybe we can, wait on this, oh, we don't need all of these, whatever the magnets are to make the barriers. We can cut them in half. We were over redundanting those. It's like very like interesting how it parallels real life to the movie in how it was made, which is cool. Very cool.
Looks like he's in Aaron, the character Aaron plays in quite a bit of stuff. He's got like 9 different previous things. Tales from the Loop is a show I watched. He's in 2 episodes of that. The Girlfriend Experience, Memory Box. A couple of things that I've seen. I don't remember actually seeing him in it, but it does. From what I've seen from him in this movie, I would be curious about more of his works, whether he's writing, directing, or acting in it. I would be curious. I'd also like to see Abe in some more stuff. I thought his character was interesting, and I want to see what that guy can do.
Yeah, I think out of the actors in this movie, if you can call them that, I think Abe's character, that actor has actually done quite a bit of work since. Shane less, but I think Shane is kind of in his own building or doing work that he believes in and passion projects, not so much. He doesn't care about what Hollywood is doing. So that's kind of why he hasn't done as much, but probably is very happy with what he's doing.
It looks like he wrote and directed at least one other film called Upstream Color.
I'm going to be checking that one out. I don't know it yet.
I
No,
also
I'm just
wanted
looking at it. It's got about a $50,000 budget, so more, but still very, very
very
independent.
low budget. Yeah, 100%. I also found a little thing that, and this ties into the Knives Out franchise. Our boy Ryan Johnson of Knives Out, he did Looper, which is a time traveling kind of cop movie, with Bruce Willis and what's his name?
Love me some Looper.
Yeah, Gordon Levitt. And anyway, he sent the script to Shane to be like, "Hey, let me know how this works out in time travel." And Shane got back to him saying, "No, this is bad." So I'm wondering if Shane gave him some, pointers and tips on that to maybe elevate that time travels portion of that movie, right? Of how it
Yeah,
works or whatever.
because Looper is what they call a Jin story. A Jin in time travel is something that exists within a loop. Something started it, but you aren't ever going to know what, because the thing that starts it is because of it, right? It creates itself in a loop, and that's Looper. I don't want to spoil that movie for you, but it creates its own timeline. And so I do love time travel Jin stories. I think those are amazing. They're so much fun to watch. There's a good one with Ethan Hawke if you can get around all the sex changes. But that was a cool one too. That's actually a written story. Lots of great novels and short stories about Jin time travel, and those are really interesting. This isn't a Jin story, though. I bet there's probably a fan theory out there that makes it one. So I'd be curious to hear it.
Right. Yeah, I do think just this movie in general is just kind of regarded as one of the best time travel movies because of how focused it is and on how detailed it talks about the what ifs and what can happens and outcomes, various different outcomes. And they explain away a lot of different aspects of the theories of time travel in this movie, whereas a lot of other ones are like, oh, time travel is the reason the story's happening, but we don't care how it works, we just need it to tell the story,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's where this fundamentally is different than most time travel movies and why it's held in such high regard, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the special effects of this costly film, Time
Was there
Travel
special
Box
effects?
made out of PVC?
Was there a special effect in this movie?
There's not really. I'm not even sure if they really turned those magnets on in real life. Like when they go to put like the confetti,
The paper.
the hole punch, the paper hole punch, they pan over to the other camera to look through that screen, the monitor screen, so they could put it in, because they probably didn't. They probably just dropped it. It fell through because there wasn't anything going on there.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting way to do it.
Do you
I
think they
think
slowed the footage down? How did they do that with like the
With
budget
no
and what they
budget?
had access to?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, that's the beauty about. I love hate about this movie is they have like a lot of those really smart shots, directorial. There's so many very good shots in this, and then there's so many
horrible ones.
shots in this, and
Yeah.
it's just like, oh dang, man! Like some of these things, I think because they were forced to be creative in like that scene, you get very creative shots and really really pleasant viewing, and then a lot of other shots are like, okay, well we can just set the camera down and we'll just chat through it, and it's like a lot of boring shots. So it's interesting in that way.
Yeah. I just think that with a budget this low, what they did was incredible. So they get higher points because of what they were working with, but at the same time, there's no special effects or practical effects hardly at all. Really, it's just clever cinematography, really.
Yeah, and some editing to make it look like there's two people in the same plane of existence, right?
Yeah.
By literally cutting and not having them on screen at the same time.
Yes, just showing somebody's back. Yeah.
Well, and even what you were talking about oh shoot, I lost my thought.
That's all right.
Oh,
We'll send you
about
back.
having what you were talking about, how the movie character kind of mirrors the real character. At one point in the movie, they're like gonna break their fridge just to get some copper wiring because that's how broke they are at this point to try and make their dream come true. I'm sure they didn't break a fridge to make this movie, but like it kind of feels like that. Like they're just scrapping everything together, putting whatever they can into the film to be like, okay, let's just grab and do what we can. As you said, the time machine's made out of PVC and duct tape, essentially. It's like probably just stuff they had lying around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get to rate
don't,
this,
I
or?
don't mind that. I don't mind that. Yeah, I think I'm good
Yeah.
to rate. Yeah.
I don't remember. Are we going in the same order as usual, or are we doing?
I would love to go last, but no, we can go in the normal order.
What's the
Would
normal
love
order?
to
At this
go
point, I'm
last.
confused.
Normal order? You're here every week. You don't know what the normal order is?
I
You
don't
dead
really
me.
have
You
memory.
dead me.
Jesus Christ.
Well, it is my movie. I guess I can go first.
I love you, man, but wow.
Funny.
If you like what we do and you want to help support us, consider joining our Patreon. There's a link down below. Huge shout out to our producers, as well as our executive producers, Real Bubba Hotep and Dino, and a massive shout out to our writers, Elder JM and Miss Hillary. And a massive shout out to our head writers, Elder JM 990 and Miss Hillary. Thank you all so much.
I mean, you still butchered her name. It's Mrs. Hillary, but it was a better take.
She'll forgive me.
I know. She's the best.
Okay. I love time travel. I think this is one of the best time travel films that you can watch. It's complicated. It's deep. It has, I hate to use the term layers to it because it doesn't work like that. It has loops to it and lots of theories and lots of interesting stuff that I could talk about endlessly because I just kind of enjoy this content. And then the fact that it's made so cheaply and still done so interestingly. It's not perfect, needs a lot of polish for sure, but still was a ton of fun for me. Probably, I can't even pick a thing that was probably the worst. Maybe the acting. I think the dialogue was a choice, but not necessarily a bad one. Those might be the lowest points for me in the film. Didn't bother me at all. It almost just lended character to this film. So I keep going back and forth on the scoring of this one. So I'm just going to throw it out there. I think it's an 84. I think this is a really incredible film. A lot of that high score is driven by the fact of how cheap it was. If this movie was made for $500,000 or even $100,000, I would say, nope, that's not that great. It's still a fun movie to watch, but it would bring the score down, 5-10 points at least. But because they did this on $7,000 budget, just kind of blows me away, puts me in awe, and makes me wish that more people would get out there and with $5,000-$10,000 make movies like this for us to view and watch, and hopefully even rate. Because I think this is just one of those things that Hollywood didn't have any part of this. Those are some of the best movies for me to watch.
Very nice. The thing with Primer is that it is not the sum of its parts. If I was to rate this movie the way I rate the normal movies that we talk about, it would be an incredibly low score because there are a lot of things in this movie that just don't work for me. The sound is not very good. The cinematography is very yellow, very blue, and that might be a choice, but it's not necessarily an appealing one to look at. The acting, in the sense that I believe that the two main characters are really good friends, is good, but they're never given anything to do. They talk in the exact same tone the entire time. They're never really angry at each other. They're never really elated about anything. The one scene where the wife is like, good job, you're a hero for wanting to punch his boss. I honestly don't know if that was supposed to be sarcasm or she actually thinks he's a hero for wanting to punch his boss. It just kind of confused me because I can't read what she's trying to convey. The plot of this movie is incredibly dense and hard to get through. I don't think that makes it bad. It just, you really have to know what you're getting yourself into when you watch something like this. If you stumble across this movie, I almost guarantee you're not going to have a very good time, unfortunately. That said, I really like a lot of what this movie is doing. The fact that it's made for $7,000 gives it huge props because that is an incredible accomplishment. As we said, it hits the nail as far as critics, as far as audiences, as far as budget goes. It did incredible things. This is a movie that I watched last Sunday with the watch along. I watched it again on Tuesday. I don't know that I'll watch it again, but I wouldn't be surprised if I do. It's one that I have not been able to stop thinking about. Now, granted, I can't stop thinking about it because I'm trying to make sense of it because it does not make sense. So you kind of have to know that you're walking into this one knowing that you're going to want to watch it multiple times, knowing that you're going to want to have people to talk to about it, knowing that you're probably going to want to look up something on YouTube to explain it to you. If that sounds fun to you, this is going to be a really fun film. If that sounds like homework, you're not going to enjoy this. And that makes it kind of hard to score this one, because normally the categories that I'd use would make this very, very, very low. But I can't deny that what this is an accomplishment. I did enjoy it. I may or may not watch it again. I'm not really sure. I can't go as high as Brian is, though, because this is only my second viewing. And when I was saying that if I enjoyed this in my 20s or found this in my 20s, I might have enjoyed it a lot more. When Brian was talking, I realized why that makes sense to me. It's because in my 20s, I was surrounded by friends who I could sit around and talk to this with. Whereas now, family man at work, I don't have that social circle as much, except for here on Thursday nights. So this has been an incredible hour going through a bunch of stuff, kind of opening my eyes to a bunch of stuff. That's where this movie is going to shine. But if you're just watching something on a Friday night, I think this is going to be a pretty hard miss for you, unfortunately, because of how dense this is. I gave this a 62.
That makes sense. That checks. That's actually a really good rating for this film. I think that explains a lot. I mean, I'm sad about the lower score, but honestly, you could have come in at a 34 on this. It wouldn't have surprised me. I just don't know. You could land anywhere on this film, really.
He could have come in at a 34. He could have.
And here comes Will, getting his matches ready, going to burn this mother down.
Don't get revenge on Dan on this one. This is Brian's movie. Wait till next week to get revenge.
It's funny to me because I could find a lot of parallels to this movie to Rumble in the Bronx. You know, it's somebody trying to tell their story in their way. Jackie Chan trying to showcase his unique style of entertainment and succeeding. Shane trying to create the most intense time travel movie and pretty much succeeding. But if you don't go for it, you don't get the ratings from some people. No, just kidding. It's all good. It's all good. I didn't mind this movie. I thought, I've said it a million times. I love the passion projects. I can parallel this to the likes of Evil Dead. You know, a dedicated group wanting to create something, doing everything they can to make it happen. Shout out to Sam Raimi, the best director we know. Thanks, Dan, for confirming that. And yeah, this took off. It hit Sundance and people loved it. And so it got limited theatrical release and made way more money than I think the creator ever thought it would. And the beauty of this is because it feels kind of like Knives Out, where it is very layered like an onion, whether that's the right term or not. But there's all of these fun little details put into the movie that you can go back and notice if you didn't catch them the first time. And that does show a very great detail in the script work of the story itself. That said, there's plenty of issues with the script itself as well. The lack of emotional core in this movie does pull you out a little bit. It makes it feel a little clinical. The lack of experience in filmmaking does take you out a little bit. For me, the biggest one, the sound mixing, was actually the detriment. That's probably the biggest strike against this movie that I can find, was the sound mixing, because it was just so piercing at some points when it really just didn't need to be, and took me out of the movie. That said, I think it's a great time traveling movie, and the theories brought forth are very tantalizing and make you want to discuss it. I think Brian bringing it here goes to show that we talked about this easily for an hour and could talk about it longer. And I think we all discovered things from each other just from hearing, each other's versions of what we saw and understood from the movie. So I think that's perfect. And the beauty of, if you want to watch this movie now, like in the present day, is you've got the internet and you can look it up. There's still plenty of theories being posted about this movie today. So it's very cool how the internet can kind of keep that alive. Overall, lots of issues with this movie, lots of great things. 63 out of 100. I would watch this movie once. I watched it twice. I probably wouldn't watch it again, but for what it is and what it's trying to accomplish, I think it does a pretty good job.
Very nice. Brian, how do you feel about those scores?
You're all right, I
enough.
guess. You're all right, I guess. I don't know. You guys do talk about sound. No, I'm looking at mine. I gave the sound scoring pretty low too. I guess
Excuse
I just enjoy the heck out of this movie, and it was just so good for me to watch. So it's hard for me to rate it bad, even with all its flaws.
I have no issue with that whatsoever, because there are going to be movies where I'm going to rate really high based off nothing but nostalgia and my personal love for them.
And the flaws are counterbalanced by the budget. That budget, just and the passion project, all it just showcases that even though it's not perfect, it's really good for what they were working with. You know.
I mean, to me, it's another beautiful example of why Hollywood doesn't have to be creating what they're creating and can create these beautiful movies on a lower budget. Hollywood could pump out 100 small budget movies that are wonderful storytelling and whatever at this, and make one big budget movie. And, combined, they'd probably all make about the same money. The problem is they want money, instant gratification, much like the characters in this movie. So I think it's just like, it is what it is. And hopefully people will still continue to make these interesting stories, and they will be recognized via different means than the theater or the Hollywood, bigwigs.
Brian, I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Would you be interested or excited if you found out that they were remaking this movie, not with one second, don't answer yet. Not with Shane Carruth directing, but with him as like an executive producer, like a on-set. What do you call that when you're like helping them out make the movie, but you're not actually making the movie? A
consultant.
A consultant, like he's part of the movie making process, but they've got an actual director and they've got actual actors and they've got a budget. Would that interest you, or would you be really terrified for that?
I would be very interested to see, as long as he is being seriously consulted on the direction of a higher budget version of this, and that it continued to have the heart and soul of this movie, then I would be very happy to see something where they polished it out better. We could hear things better, see things clearly without, there are times when I'm not sure if they were using shaky camera ideas there, or they were just couldn't afford a tripod.
Yep.
This is how it felt. So I would be interested to see that. But I think what would be more interesting would be to see something like a complete reboot where in a new movie, they reference this movie and they say, oh, yeah, time travel like that movie Primer. And then they build off of the core of what this movie is in a new high budget, all of its own kind of thing. I think that would be a little bit more interesting for me.
Fair enough.
Because how every time travel movie has like its own rules. This one has its own rules, right?
You have to.
They kind of outline it, but the rules in this one make sense. And part of the movie is them understanding and learning the rules as they go through. Where other ones are just like, they just state the rules and then the movie plays out.
Exactly.
Yeah. I wish, we'll get to that on a different franchise, I guess. You're talking about movie rules and not about Primer specifically, but one of the things that's always bothered me, I wish Terminator specifically had we can only go back so far rule, because they always kind of move forward and like, oh, now we're in 82, now we're in 94, now we're in 2000. It's like, that doesn't, like, you would go back to like kill her great grandmother or something. You wouldn't go to 2010, but it would make sense if, we can only go back 25 years. And we're limited by that or something. Anyways, like this movie, you can only go back to when the machine starts.
When the machine starts, yes.
All right, let's do this real quick and we can discuss more. Replace. Not a video. Curious. Replace. Image.
Dan's living in his own world over there. I think the beeping getting to him.
I accidentally clicked video and I got a picture of Brian, and I'm super curious to go back and see what that video is because it looks interesting, but I don't remember it. And with that, we find Primer coming in with a 62, an 84, and a 63 for a grand total of 70, putting it just below midway on our list for the Patreon picks / March Movie Madness. Brian, I know this is way too low for you, but
I was hoping it
I'm
would
sure
beat
you
A
can
Fish Called Wanda. I definitely think this is a better film than Shutter Island. I think more thought went into Primer. More passion went into Primer than Shutter Island. So I definitely think it belongs up there, at least with it. Yeah, I'm not super happy about the score, but you guys are correct in that there's lots of flaws in this film, and it drags it down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not upset by it. Of course, it's fine. I think it is a well-deserving movie to be seen. You should give it a chance. Whether you are into it or not, obviously, will affect your final outcome of this movie, right? If you're not like a time travel lover like Brian, it probably won't hit as hard as it does for Brian. And that's any movie, any genre, right? Like if you're not into the sci-fi thriller of time travel, you're not going to be as into this movie as Brian. I love the concept of time travel, and I think this one executes a lot of the theories and things really well. It just maybe doesn't hold up in a lot of other areas, which is fine. I wouldn't change this movie for the world. I wouldn't want to see a remake of this movie, even if Shane headed the whole thing. I think the beauty of this movie is how it was made and what they got out of it with what they had or didn't have.
I will say, looking at this list, even though it is in the bottom half, let's say, with the exception of maybe Moon, this might be the next one. Like, has the best possibility of me watching it again out of the movies on this list, and could climb pretty significantly based off of multiple viewings. You said you've seen this one multiple times, Brian. Heck,
yeah, I'm well over a dozen for sure.
So this one has a better chance to climb. Like, it's lower than A Fish Called Wanda, but I don't think I'm ever watching Fish Called Wanda again. Whereas like there's a decent chance I'm going to rewatch this one. Moon, City of God, Sound of Music, there's a good chance I'm going to see those again before passing on. But like the bottom half of this, I'd be pretty okay not seeing, with the exception of Primer. So like, who knows?
Yeah, like you said, Dan, if you're interested in going down rabbit holes, this is a fantastic movie to do so, because there's so much content on the internet and people who want to talk about this film because there's so many neat things that you can find in it. So if that's your bag, go for this. If time travel is your bag, go for this. If indie films are your bag, go for this. If none of those strike a chord with you, then this probably isn't for you, because you're going to get stuck on the cinematography. You're going to get stuck on the poor sound quality. You're going to get stuck on the questionable acting or character writing in this film. You're going to get stuck on those things for sure. Those are hard stopping points for some people. But I love time travel. I love indie films. I love talking about stuff with other people. So this just really hits hard for me.
Perfect outro. All right, let's do this. All right, that is our rating of Primer. But what do you guys think? Were we way too harsh on this indie darling, or does this score make a bunch of sense to you and you're going to skip on this one? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. We record this live over at twitch.tv/The Mongoolie Show. So if you want to head over there and hit the follow button, you can hang out with us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or if you made it this far in the video, you probably enjoyed it. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button so we see you in the next one.
Portland RoboCop, we can hang out anytime, buddy. Moon, Primer, those are great movies to have at the top of your list.
Bee Ridge, I do disagree with your statement. You feel like if you'd watch a movie again and again, it should rate higher. There's some movies I've watched once that are incredible, but I never want to see again.
Yeah. Yep.
Not only that, but I'm fully admitting that there is a chance where I'm going to watch it again and score it higher. But there's also a chance I watch it again and be like, you know what? No, this just isn't what I want it to be. This is just not good for me. And it goes lower. It gets to the point where I'm just like, no, it's just cheap. It's just confusing. It's too heady. I'm not smart enough for it. Whatever the confusion may be. So like, this is where I am after watching it 1.75 times. That's my honest answer. I wasn't able to switch it in a second time or a third time or whatever. I'm content and happy with my score, on the fact that Will was right there with me. I mean, I don't want to say it makes me feel justified, but like, I don't feel bad
Don't
about
you
it.
dare. Don't
if
you dare
both-
compare yourself to me. Don't you dare.
If you both came in the 90s and I was in the 60s, I might be like, shit,
Slap
okay, my bad.
those words right out of your mouth.
I
like
have
that you
no
were
intention of seeing City of God again. I don't want to watch it again. Still one of the best films, right? Period. Great film. I just don't want to watch that again. It was dark. It was hard. It was hard to sit through. It's just a little too powerful in the ways that I don't enjoy watching. So that's a great movie that I won't want to watch again.
It's a movie that I could see myself watching again if I was showing it to somebody. But
Yeah.
even though, like, I bought the DVD to watch it for the watch party, I will not on a Friday night just be like, man, I'm bored. Oh, City of God. Yeah, I could go for being depressed
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
It's like Schindler's List for me. That'd be the one that I like. I will watch it again to show to my daughters.
Right.
I've seen the movie
Yep.
maybe twice ever in the 30 something years that it's been out. It
Right.
just, it's amazing. I can't
I
say
saw- yeah,
enough good
I
things
agree.
about it. But
Seen it
I'm
once.
good.
That's enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that I was prepping myself for, one of the arguments, sometimes I think about what I'm going to say ahead of time. Sometimes I don't have time, but sometimes I like to try and prep. And this is a movie I couldn't stop thinking about for the week, not only in a what am I going to say, but also just in a curiosity
What
of how
just
the movie
happened?
goes.
Yeah.
And you kind of did hit on a bunch of these, so I do appreciate it. I legitimately did enjoy having this conversation with you guys, because you brought up a lot of good points for why certain things are happening. Because I was walking into this review kind of like, there's a lot of stuff that feels like it comes out of nowhere and goes nowhere. And admittedly, I was pretty confident Brian's score wouldn't be a perfect 100 on this because he doesn't like to give out 100s. But when I gave Jurassic Park a perfect 100, you guys are hitting me back on like, well, there's this one line in there. Why is that one line in there? That's what a waste of time that one line is. I'm like, there's entire sections of this movie where I'm like, what are we doing? But admittedly, you A, didn't give it a perfect score, and B, did hit me back with why those scenes exist to be in there, whether it's plot development or character development. Even with the plot development is for characters we don't really see.
Mhm.
Like the dad in the car behind them, and then he gets out, and like honestly, when I'm watching it and I'm seeing what's happening, because you see Aaron kind of run towards the camera and disappear. Abe looks like he gets scared and runs in the opposite direction. I didn't get that he was like, oh, I'm going to cut him off at the pass.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's just two people laying in a backyard, and he's like, oh, what? And I'm like, are these who?
Yeah,
Like, I
what
didn't
just
recognize
happened?
it as Aaron at first, and I have no idea
Yeah.
what Mr. Garrick looks like. And I'm just like,
Yes.
Yeah.
what
And there was
is
something
like,
in the garage that looked like other bodies at one point. So like my first time through, I had no idea what that was all about. And you're right. That comes out of nowhere and goes nowhere. And
Yeah.
you don't, the only reason
Well-
it's there is to showcase that time travel got messy.
and even the hands, like, oh, I can't write letters down. Why can't I write letters down? It doesn't really like it gives you the sense that like, okay, this is bad for them. This is not something they can do indefinitely. But
Yeah.
it doesn't really go anywhere. And like the scene where he's just all of a sudden bleeding out of his ear, like that's if you've got like that's brain damage. Like if you're bleeding out of your ear, there's a good chance that's brain damage.
Yeah. There's
And
a
they're just
problem.
like, oh shit,
Yeah,
moving on.
and-
And you're like,
And
what?
there's supposed to be,
I know
time
healthcare's
travel
expensive in the
sickness.
States, but
And
go
I
get yourself
think-
checked out.
I think they cut out the time travel sickness, because if you have time travel sickness and you're going to die if you keep traveling through time, then Aaron building a bigger machine doesn't really work as a plot. It just doesn't work because he's going to kill himself using it. And so
Sure.
that doesn't make any sense. So
if he's using
I
it,
think
he might just be selling it, right?
it could be too, yeah. But why
Why does he need
sell
money?
it? Why? Yeah. Why? Exactly.
I don't know. He's
Un-
doing his own thing. Who knows what
Like-
the hell he's doing?
Unless-
If his clone is living with his wife, then he can't really use his name or face to get fame or popularity. And if he's got a time machine, money is not an object. What are you doing?
Well, it could be the time machine kills you if you use it too much. So he's going to sell it and cash out. But the problem is,
Are they playing the stock market? Because they talk about playing the stock market, but you never really see anything. And I get that, like,
And,
this
yeah,
movie
they never
can't
show
afford
off
to have
their
a
wealth
Ferrari
either.
in it.
Yeah.
But like, is that something that's legitimately happening?
Yes, I think so. But I think there was one scene where they're like, "Ooh, we just sold. Great work."
yeah,
But then it shifts so quickly to the dark side of time travel that's just like we've moved on from that. And that's the
and frankly,
that's the
I
thing
think
with
it's a
lot of it.
cliche that they show off the wealth that they made, and they're like, "Woo!"
sure.
bragging about it. That's a cliche in time travel movies, or anything where the wealth gets to them. And I don't think that Shane Kurth wanted us to focus. Chat's messing with me right now. I don't think Shane wanted us to be focused on greed as any kind of aspect in this. I think it was more power that Aaron wanted, control that Aaron wanted, rather than greed that overcomes them. Because it wasn't the greed that overcomes them; it's the backstabbing and infighting.
What has he got control over at the end of the movie?
Space and time.
He gets to punch a guy in the face, which we never see, and not feel the repercussions of it. But
which they didn't even get to. They didn't
he
get
gets to save a girl who was never in danger. Okay. Like, what is he?
Because he was going to try and help his friend, but that ended up not happening either, because everything unraveled before they even had the chance, because the reality was they were tinkering too much.
I know. Let's tinker more.
Exactly. Well, I think it also is like, I think you'd be addicted to that, right? Like, oh, something didn't go my way today. I can control
every situation.
I could just go back. I can just fix it. And that's kind of where it felt like they kind of got into their, and that's like the fall of them, right? And the fall of their friendship and everything is like, it just gets in your head of like, oh, I can change this, or oh, I can make it better, or oh, I can do this. And I think it made them get sloppy, made them break the loops, got all the clones in there or whatever, duplicates, whatever you want to call them, different versions. And that's why it's the cautionary tale that it is. What those scenes are that trigger these happenings and the falling outs and the ultimate end of the friendship doesn't matter. It's that's what's happening, because there's too many unknowns and it's too hard to control everything.
Maybe that's my problem at the end of the day, is as much as I love sci-fi, I am a character-driven person.
Yeah.
And the characters in this are
shallow.
Yeah. Like, we see that one of them is married, but he doesn't ever seem to show any concern for his wife, daughter.
Right.
Like, at no point does he like, okay, like, sure, it's hard to show the wealth in a movie this small, right? Because they don't have the wealth to do it. But like, you can have a line like, hey babe, I did really well in the stock exchange, why don't you go get something? I don't know what I expect, but like, I guess he's the bad guy, he's supposed to be the bad guy, but it was still really off-putting that like the main character just like walks away from his wife and child at the end just so we can go and make a bigger one.
I thought it made him that much more villainous, because he just didn't really seem to care about his wife at all. I wish that we would have had something that showcased that a little bit better, so that we could see that he either didn't care about his wife at all and he really was this asshole, or that he changed into an asshole. We don't know, because there just wasn't enough movie showcasing some of that stuff.
Well, and if I understand the movie at all, we never see original Aaron. We only ever really see time traveling Aaron, right?
Well, you see original Aaron,
or like
create the time traveling machine.
I mean, okay, sure, for
first 20 minutes,
10 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. In the opening sequence when they're in the garage. But as soon as you see Abe walk up on that hill and Aaron's sitting on the bench, and Aaron already has the earpiece in, as soon as that scene starts, that's when Abe is going to tell Aaron about the machine. And Abe has just finished making the fail-safe machine and doing his original one-day run.
Yeah.
And that's when it all starts, because Aaron Prime, which we didn't really even see, ends up finding about the fail-safe machine and making his own, and goes back in time. And now Abe Prime is walking up to Aaron 234, I don't know, and telling him all about the time travel machine, which he already knows about because he's gone back. You know, like it's just crazy. I don't know. It's a damn good time travel movie. I like it.
Yeah. And another nice note is that all of the effects, like the bleeding ear, happened to Aaron first, which is interesting because we think originally Abe was the time traveler first, so he should be feeling the effects. So it's like another, like, oh, that's why it's happening to him. He's done this multiple times already, which is cool.
Nice.
Anyway, see, I said this in my recap review that we talked about it easily for an hour, and we would continue to talk about it. It's just so easy to talk about.
It's easy to talk about it. Tony Scangili in the chat. Holy cow. How you been, Tony?
I will. I don't know. I will go back a second, not about the movie specifically, just about us. I did kind of talk a little bit before we got started. I'm not going to go back and re-record it, but Bubba Hotep just signed up at the writer level. Yeah, upgraded from the executive producer to the writer. So thank you very much to that. He'll be one of 3 people now helping us decide what movies we're going to be watching going forward. I believe next week we're going to be watching Sing Street. That's my choice for March Movie Madness. We're going to be doing that on the R Rating Discord for free. Anybody can join that. That is not held on paywall of any kind. So if you're interested in checking that movie out, it's hard to come by because it is like a British indie film. I have the DVD of it though, so I will be putting that. Anybody can come and watch. But after that is going to be the Patreon pick at the end of the month, and I believe we're doing American Beauty. So the next month, Bubba Hotep, Miss Hillary, and Elder Jam 990 can all work together and try and figure out a pick that we can go forward on.
Yeah.
And that
So
watch
that was
party, is that going to be 7 Central, 8 your time
Correct.
on Sunday?
If you go to our Discord, there are events, and those events automatically change it to whatever time zone you're
I need
in.
to remember to click those events. I keep forgetting to do that.
Go to the events and click that you're interested, and it'll give you a reminder when it's coming up in your time zone, which is super handy, and I love Discord.
Okay, I got to see what Portland RoboCop is putting in front of me.
I was going to say, like, I'm super curious and nervous at the same time.
Okay, so there's how Run 7 sees Primer. That's interesting. Okay. And this is how Monguli sees Primer. The ball of yarn.
He's not wrong.
That's pretty good. Okay. Yep, that's accurate. Yeah, that's accurate. That's accurate.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, thank you, Brian. It's a great pick.
Good.
If nothing else, I'm very glad that I saw it because it is one that you have been mentioning since you and I got together, started talking movies. So it's been on my mind for a long time. I'm glad that I finally got to check it out and we got to have this time to sit and talk about it because I think if I didn't have you guys talk about it with, I don't think I'd have anybody to talk about it with. Mm-hmm. And my brain would have exploded halfway through the movie.
Yeah. This is just one of those movies that when I watch other time travel movies, I have to compare it to this. I have to hold it up and just be like, did their rules do as well as Primer rules? Did theirs make as much sense as Primer's? Was theirs interesting, or was theirs hot tub time machine, generic garbage? We have a machine that takes us back in time and we're going to tell a stupid story around that. So, by the way, I'm not a fan of Hot Tub Time Machine.
Shocker. Yeah. I don't. I have said this many, many times. I will say it again. I don't care what a movie puts forward as being how the world works, as long as the movie sticks to what the movie says is how the time works. When a movie breaks its own rules, that drives me batty.
Yep. Get out of here.
In this one, they're like, oh, you can go back and forth in time during this machine. Cool. That's how this works.
I think that's why I have such trouble with Stephen King stories, whether it's the book or the movies. Stephen King doesn't know where his stories are going to end when he sits down to write them. He's usually on a lot of drugs when he writes them.
He lets the
and
acid
he just goes, and the movies or stories just flow forward, and the rules change in a whim, and it drives me nuts. I can't deal with it. So sometimes they make movie adaptations of Stephen King films and they stick to a little bit more structure. Like The Shining is a little closer to structure, but yeah.
Yeah, that was our biggest problem with it. Was you're just like, what is happening at the end of
the
second
doesn't
movie
have
specifically?
Rules.
You're just like, I don't understand. Yeah, like just whatever happens in the moment is what's happening. Okay. Oi. All right. Yeah, I got nothing else. And I was originally there's a new game that I was debating asking Will and some other people they want to play, but honestly, I'm just bagged at this point. I might save that for Saturday morning.
Yeah,
time travel is tiring work, man.
Safety Not Guaranteed is a fantastic one. I like that. I did enjoy The Time Traveler's Wife. I thought I was going to be watching some romantic movie, and it turned out to be a great time travel movie. In fact, I'll probably try and sucker my wife into watching that because she's never seen it. And I have not yet seen Time Crimes that was talked about earlier in chat, and it reminded me that I haven't yet seen it. So I'm going to be checking out Time Crimes. 12 Monkeys was great. 12 Monkeys had some pretty decent structure to it, so I liked it. But I just like the dark aspect of 12 Monkeys. Plus, got some great actors in it.
It's got some great actors in it. Like that's one of the ones that I point to a lot when people are like, "Oh, Brad Pitt's just a heartthrob." I'm like, actually, he's got some pretty serious chops.
Yeah, real good.
All right, Brian, what are you up to lately? Does anybody can check you out going forward? Are you back to doing your stuff on Sunday? Or?
I know. I said I was going to be streaming more often, and then I still kind of got stuck on some stuff that really sucked, and it wiped me out. I wasn't able to get to like my Sunday stream and stuff, but I wasn't going to leave this little old lady without hot water because I fucked up her water heater. So I spent 7 hours on a 2-hour job there, and those things keep happening, and I keep missing my stream schedule. But I'm getting things under control. I'll be getting back to streaming more content, back to my usual schedule of Arc Raiders at random. Sundays we'll be doing Cyberpunk, and when we finish Cyberpunk, I will switch. Do my horror survival scary movie stuff. I think I've got Dead Space and a few others in the chamber ready to go to. So Sundays are going to get back on schedule, and then of course Thursdays are here. And all the while I am still trying to find time for a real beautiful passion project, more of a talk show about men's mental health and fitness, something that can actually people can benefit and we can get together and just talk. But I'm a long ways away from that. That could be years away before that actually really gets going. But I am gathering content and ideas and formulating stuff so that eventually I could have a group discussion of something more meaningful than just video games and movies.
Wow, shots fired. All right.
Just saying, this is great mental health, coming here and hanging out with friends and talking, and it's good to chill and have video games. But unfortunately, I see too many people hiding behind their computer screen, hiding behind their phone, never getting out, never experiencing anything. And I would like to drive men my age to go and experience life and then come back to Twitch and YouTube and share their stories with me and their friends.
Sounds awesome. What about you? What are you up to tomorrow night?
I don't know. I never know what I'm doing anymore. We played a crazy game called Burgle and Gnomes last week, and it was pretty hilarious. It's kind of another along the lines of Peak and RV There Yet kind of game where people run around causing mayhem. So we might do that. There was a lot of naked old man shooting us. So that's potential. Something with friends. Usually Friends Friday has friends playing games with me. So come on over if you want to play some games.
I'm sorry. I was adjusting my headphones and I came in on naked old men shooting you.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'll be sure to tune in.
I know what I'm doing Friday night now. Question. Am I old enough? Never mind. All right. So I am going to be on Saturday morning testing out this game you were playing today, Cleaning Agent. How was Naquan Last Paradise?
It is interesting. It's fun. It's early in play testing, I think, so there's a lot of clunkiness to a lot of elements of it.
Okay.
Dadpool and I were both playing. We both crashed out a couple of times while we were in game. So there are some issues, obviously, which is fine. We signed up for a play test. You have to expect that, but it's kind of like Arc Raiders in the way you're alluding to, craft and stuff in an extraction element, but it's definitely more focused on like melee attacking, and the PvE is zombies kind of loitering around, but there are people there too. So it definitely changes the gameplay a lot. It's much more methodical, slow moving, trying to sneak around, being quiet. You can throw bottles to, move zombies away from you and things like that with noise. So it's cool, atmospheric in that way. So it's worth checking out. And if you can get past some of the obvious problems they need to fix before it releases.
Very cool. All right, well, I will hopefully be checking that out on Saturday morning. Maybe not the entire stream, but for at least a chunk of it, and see how we do, and then move on to something else. But that sounds fun. Mm-hmm. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. This has been a ton of fun. For everybody out there, again, I'm just going to keep saying it, hammering it, !movies, !podcast. Go check us out wherever you want, YouTube, podcast, whatever. Hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, leave a rating, whatever you can do to just try and help us get out there, assuming you like what we do. If you don't like what we do, why are you doing this to yourself by being here? I don't know. You guys have been awesome. Let's raid out and call it a night.
I'll be raiding out as well. Tony, you don't need to worry about it, Tony. You have enough life experiences that you can come to Twitch and share those stories endlessly. You have the ability to doom scroll until you die eating cake, so go right ahead, buddy. I'm going to raid out myself to the Without Context show, which I've kind of been enjoying. These guys, they're new to me. I've hung out a couple times since I raided them last. I'm going to send them over there. So
Thanks, everybody's.
Man, just rated 9 viewers. Beat me to it, son of a
Well
bitch.
played. Well played.